treat this as a regular class. So, you know, this is just a normal class. Okay. Okay. Now, last time we were talking about the Kansas. Let's turn that off for a second. Okay. So last time we were talking about the Kansas territory. Okay. And we were talking about how in the Kansas territory, under the Kansas-Nebraska Act of 1854, Congress said that the people who settled Kansas territory would get to decide whether or not slavery would be allowed in the state of Kansas. Okay? That's what the Kansas-Nebraska Act of 1854 said. It said that the people who settled Kansas would eventually get to decide by voting whether or not slavery would be allowed in the state of Kansas. Okay? And what this does, what the Kansas-Nebraska Act of 1854 does, in effect, is it sets off a race. Okay? It sets off a race between two sides. And on one side, you have pro-slavery types running into Kansas. They want to get in there, and they want to settle down in Kansas. At the same time, you have free soilers and abolitionists rushing into Kansas. They want to settle Kansas. Why do they want to settle Kansas? Because if they get to settle Kansas first, then they'll get to vote in that election, and they will vote to make Kansas a free state. But if the pro-slavery types get to Kansas first, then they'll be able to vote and make Kansas a slave state. Okay? So both sides, the free soilers and abolitionists and the pro-slavery types, are rushing to Kansas in the wake of the Kansas-Nebraska Act, trying to get there because they realize the people who get there the firstest with the mostest, okay, will be able to decide whether or not Kansas becomes a slave state or a free state. Okay? Now, one of the people who joined the abolitionist and free soil forces in Kansas was this man, John Brown. And we've already talked a little bit about John Brown. And here is a photograph of him. Okay? He looks like a pretty stern guy. He looks like a pretty serious guy. And he was. Okay? Now, Brown had gone to Kansas to join up with the abolitionists, to join up with the free soilers. Okay? And he was outraged in 1856 when he learned about the sack of Lawrence. Okay? That is, in 1856, when a pro-slavery mob had marched through, had rampaged through the streets of Lawrence, Kansas, and set fire to the hotel. He was outraged about that. And he was also outraged that the people who were in charge of Lawrence, Kansas, hadn't raised a finger in defense of their city. Okay, so he's upset about that. And what else he's upset about is he's upset over the fact that Charles Sumner, senator from Massachusetts, the abolitionist senator from Massachusetts, had been caned until he was bloody on the floor of the U.S. Senate. Okay? He was outraged when he learned that Sumner had been bloody at his desk. Okay? And so, in May of 1856, just a few days after Charles Sumner had been beaten bloody at his desk, John Brown gets together a small band of followers. Okay? And he goes to a place in Kansas called Potawatomi Creek.
How do you spell that?
Soundboard. Goes to a place in Kansas called Potawatomi Creek. And he and his band kidnapped 5 pro-slavery men. 5 pro-slavery settlers from Potawatomi Creek.
Where is that?
It's in Kansas, and it's a creek called Potawatomi Creek. Okay. He and his followers kidnapped 5 pro-slavery men